I have some pretty big plans for today's episode, and I'm really excited about what we are going to build, but I am missing only one item for what we're going to build today, and that item is a salmon. So I decided to use these ice fishing huts we built in the last episode and fish until I get a salmon. I could probably find one in a river or something, but I think might as well go fishing. Oh, first try. Literally, that is the first try, the first take, and the first fish I caught is a salmon. That is so perfect. We're done. We got the last item we need for this build today. And you might be wondering why I need a salmon. Well, today, right about there, we are going to be building a kind of lodge. What this lake will kind of be, as you'll see later on, we're going to build some cabins here, some cabins over there. It's kind of like a lake retreat or resort. So this is like the lodge, the main, how would you call it? Like kind of the welcome center lodge for this whole like frozen lake resort here. And I need a salmon for it, which you'll see later on why I need the salmon. But here I have gathered all my resources already. And today I'm going to let you guys into a little bit more behind the scenes of what I do for each episode. Before I even sit down to record each episode, I usually like to have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to build, usually have it designed and creative, and then gather all of the materials, which is what I've already done here before I even hit record. So in all these shulker boxes here, I have all the materials, and it's a lot of miscellaneous blocks. And then grass, this is just what I need for the terrain. So I spend a significant portion of my time before even recording just designing and then gathering, so that when I sit down to record, it's mostly just building it, talking about it, showing it, and yeah. And then as well, before we jump into actually building this here in survival, I wanted to do a different kind of time lapse from what I normally do. Normally I just time lapse me building it here in my survival world, but I'm going to let you guys into a little bit more behind the scenes and show a time lapse from my creative world where I design it. So it'll be a time lapse of me from start to finish designing this building, and you'll get to see a little bit more insight about how it actually comes together for me and my building process. And I realized I do not have a happy ghast in this area 18,000 blocks away from my home base, so I'm going to hydrate a happy ghast. I have to cover it so this does not turn to ice. Although with a dried ghast in it, I guess it wouldn't turn to ice if it's waterlogged, basically. So maybe that's not necessary. But anyways, while this dried ghast hydrates, I'm going to show you guys the time lapse of me designing this, and then we'll jump back here and actually put this into our world. So I started with this build as I always do, with just the shape, and I choose whatever block. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to see the general shape of the build and where the windows and doors are kind of going to go. And then the next step I usually do is just try to pick out my colors. So I go look for the colors I want, and then kind of pick a bunch of similar ones to each of those colors and lay them out side by side so I can really see them and kind of then play with the colors on the build. And then that's when I start to take them to the build here. And you can see here that I go through several different looks. At first I tried the jungle, the spruce, and the dark oak together, but I didn't like it too much. I think the jungle was just too far off from the other colors. The stripped jungle wood. It was just a bit too different. And then I even tried some cherry wood there, some basalt. I wasn't liking any of those, so then I tried just taking the basic colors to the rest of the build, filling it in, filling the roof in with just a white block for now. Later on I would go through and detail it better. And at this point I'm going to show you some of the pictures of the inspiration for this build from The Long Dark, some screenshots from the game. It's hard to exactly duplicate some things, but I think overall I did a pretty good job of mimicking what I saw in The Long Dark there. And here you just see me going through different ideas for the windows and the window frames. And then I tackled the roof. You can see I went through a lot of different things trying to figure it out before I kind of settled on what I wanted to go for. And just ignore the fences. Those are not really cherry fences. For whatever reason, in Flashback mod recently, it just continually shows the wrong fence post textures. I don't know why. And with that, that's pretty much it for the designing process. Then let's go back into survival. I hope you enjoyed just a little bit of a peek behind the scenes of how I go through my creative process. And now, with that done, let's jump right into a time lapse. Building a little bit of terrain here, building that lodge, and then we will take a tour through it, because there's some stuff that I did not show in that time lapse. So I'm really excited to show you guys some of the things. I really like this build overall. I think it's one of my favorites that I've done in quite a while. So let's jump into it. Okay, here is the lodge built now in our survival world. I showed a little bit of it in the creative mode time-lapse earlier, but let's just take a closer look now. Where's the zombie coming from? Here. Ugh. Okay. This part here was not in the original design, in the original inspiration. I looked at some other lodges and saw windows like this, and I really liked it. And I quite like how it turned out. It has all the individual windows kind of framed out, all these different squares with the trapdoors. I really like that effect. And then again, we used banners here for overhanging snow like we did on our train depot a few episodes ago. And I really like the roof. One thing that's really challenging to do with snowy areas is the roofs, because you can't put the snow layers on top of these stairs themselves. So I have to add in areas with snow blocks, and then I can put some snow layers on there. So I tried to do it in places where it would make sense, where the snow would kind of blow up and pile up a little bit more in this crevice between the two parts of the roof. Same thing goes for over here, just a little bit more snow. As if this half would be more swept by the wind. There's not as much snow that stays here, but it kind of piled up on this side a little bit more. We have this side of the house. I really like the window frames I did with like the snow layers on it. And this is what I came up for the lighting fixtures for this house. This is supposed to be like an outdoor light, and it's a dried gas on top of a trap door, and it's facing towards the wall so you don't see the face, but I really like how that detail turned out for the lights. And then we have the textures of the wall, which from my inspiration, it was a lot of like wood plank look. On the bottom half of the lodge, the planks were running vertically, and then the top horizontally. So I didn't want to use regular planks for that. So I decided to do a look with different types of logs, some strips, some regular. We got the jungle, we got the mangrove, the oak, and then the stripped dark oak and stripped spruce. They're all pretty similar in color. They have some different tones, some different shades, but I think they all work pretty well together. We have our little back entrance here, a little snow piled up on here, some snow piled up in this little like snowdrift here, and then another dried gas for the lighting here, and then our porch. Oh, and then there's some more of these dried gas lighting fixtures here. And now what you did not see in the time-lapse really, or the creative world, is I did the interior. I actually did it this time. I usually skip that or put it off to later, but I decided to do it for this building, and I really like how it turned out. So there's a couple details missing. One is these item frames are supposed to have the fish. This is what I needed that salmon for, as if these are kind of like fish that they may have caught out there ice fishing, just mounted on the wall, some bigger ones. I quite like this interior. Let's just take a slow look around. We got our banners here for the curtains. I really like this lamp with the copper grate, and then this lightning rod, and then the loom is kind of like a little stand there, and then these kind of look like drawers or shelves. on it. We got our little couches with the dark prismarine and the warped signs. I've seen other people do this with like glazed terracotta and then leaf litter for the border of like a rug, a carpet. Back here, this one is one of my favorite details, is this mangrove shelf with the banner in the middle, and then the two candles kind of looks like a plus sign. It's like a first aid kit there. We have more shelves, more just areas and tables, some barrels here under the stairs, another rug back here, some more paintings, and then these stairs. Now, you can't walk up it like normal stairs, but the effect I was trying to achieve is, you know, this kind of stairs where you step up it, but there's like the solid step part you step on, but underneath in between, there's like a gap where you can like see underneath the stairs. So that's what I was trying to do with these trapdoors, and I think it turned out. I like it. And then here's where that other fish goes, right here. And we got more curtains and stuff up here. I like this chandelier. It's pretty simple with the chain and then the hopper, our copper trap doors and our candles. Then we got some lighting fixtures in the ceiling, which is just end rods. A nice shelf here. This is supposed to be like a little dresser, so I use the backs of the chiseled bookshelves, and these kind of look like handles or drawers. Another one of those lamps from downstairs, and then 2 bunk beds, which I like this with the trapdoors in the end and the signs for like the side of the bunk bed. And then this banner, I'm not sure if it turned out exactly as I intended, but it's supposed to be like as if the blanket from the bed is kind of hanging off the bed. We got a little desk here. We got our stove with like, I don't know what you'd call this. That's not really a chimney, but whatever that is, the piping for the stove. Here, in here is supposed to be more firewood for the fire with the logs in here, which is the put out campfire. Got another rug up here. But yeah, I really like this interior. Interiors are always something I tend to struggle with, but I put in the effort, put in the time for this one, and I quite like how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think. But it's definitely one of my biggest struggle points. But our last detail that I have not put in yet is, which may be a little bit tedious. I'm going to use these shelves on the wall with candles and do kind of like that. I'm going to go all along here, there, and there. And it's supposed to be Christmas lights. I have some of the same up there, but as if these are like just Christmas lights strung along the ceiling. And I think that will be really cool. So I'm going to put those in for a few minutes. Yeah, I think that makes a big difference on the inside here. Those little handles along the ceiling, I think those work well as like Christmas lights. Let me know what you guys think of that, but I am really happy with that detail, and that is a really good use for the shelves, I think. But there is one more detail that we have to do, and I'm going to need to use this. We need these 2 red banners and this white one. Wonder if you guys can guess what I need to do. Gotta do this one, then this one, then, oh, we gotta switch to the white dye, do that one, and that one, then this. Can you guys tell what that is? We're going to put these banners right up here. Whoops. Oh, I already made a mistake. Right here, the 2 red ones, and this one in the middle. And we got our Canadian flag on our flagpole. I did try just doing a Canadian flag pattern on one banner, where it was like the red on the top and bottom, and then kind of trying to do the maple leaf in the middle, and then as if the flag was hanging down, but it did not look right. So we got this. There's some pretty good wind, as you can see, where the flag is going straight out, apparently. So yeah, I really like that. I'm pleased with that. And now I'd say this, for right now, is pretty much done. Even have an interior, which I am so pleased with. Probably in the next episode, we'll be working on maybe some of the cabins here, a little dock area here for the lake. But I think that's about all the building I'm going to do for this episode. This one, it doesn't look like much, but it took a lot of work as far as the design, especially with doing the interior. But one other thing I'd like to do before we finish today's episode will involve this guy. As we traveled to this new area a few episodes ago, I passed through a mega taiga. And in that mega taiga, I saw the perfect wildlife for this area that we are building. So I'm gonna go get some of those and bring them back here. Finally found the animals I was looking for. I had to search a lot longer than I thought. I want these wolves specifically. These dark colored wolves. And I've been flying over this mega taiga with the happy gas for a long time until I found these. Now, okay, there's some more over here. Now, I want to keep these not tamed. That way, you know, they have AI and they can wander around stuff still. Because if I tame them, I'm just going to sit them down and they're not going to do anything. So I'm going to bring them back like this. But my only question is, can you breed wild wolves? Like, could I take these back and get more? No, doesn't look like it. That is tragic. So I just have to make do with whatever ones I can find out here. Okay, well, let me see if I can find any more, but I'm gonna keep attaching to the happy gas and keep looking for more and see how many we can find. Alright, I have just made it back with the wolves here. Let me quickly up into free cam just to make sure that they're not too far off the ground. I added a little fence here to put them in. Okay. Okay, they should all be released now. Let me get this happy gas out of here. Whoops. I just took his harness off. Okay, that's fine. Collect these leads. So I was able to find quite a few. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'd say it's gonna be hard to count them because they're running everywhere, but I'd say like there's 20 to 30 of these wolves here, which I think will be really nice. Maybe dotted throughout our landscape as we build it in there. A challenge will be trying to figure out how to keep them from completely wandering away. This will, for the most part, will be a pretty self-enclosed landscape with the mountains, but I don't think it'll be completely escape-proof. So I wish in Minecraft there's a good way of keeping wild animals like this, like, within a certain range without having to fence them in like this. But at least for now, we have them here, and I think these will be the perfect addition for some wildlife in our terrain later on. But that is about all I have time for in today's episode. Let me know what you guys thought of our building today, and if you guys have any suggestions or comments or thoughts for the future of this area and all the projects here, let me know. I'm really excited for the direction it's taking, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys all in the next episode. Bye!